Judson University, obviously, and I'd like to share with you a small part of my story. Grew up in a Christian home. My parents both loved God, and they talked to Him daily. I had good examples for me. When I was little, I asked Jesus to come into my heart. I remember it really well, actually. I was sitting in the backseat of my mom's car, and I said, Mom, why did they take the bread and the juice on Sunday? And she explained to me, like, about communion, about Jesus, and how He just wants to love me and be my friend. So that was the day I gave my life to God. And flash forward from when I was about 5 to January 2003, I'm spending the weekend in Charlotte, North Carolina at a youth convention. There's 5,000 plus kids just like learning about God and worshiping, and it was just a really crazy and exciting time. But the last night, that's what I remember the most, because the speaker had 2 main points. The first thing was, you need to have a personal relationship with God. And the second thing was, don't leave this weekend and forget everything that happened. And you know what? Hundreds of kids went forward and they gave their lives to God. And it was super exciting. And I wanted to go with them. I really did. But for whatever reason, it was the second thing that really got me. I didn't want to just give my life to God and the excitement of the moment and forget about it, you know? So, I stubbornly sat there, and a week later, I was laying in my bed, and I asked God to come into my life. But it was more this time. I didn't want to just give Him my heart. I wanted to give Him my life. And there are still times that I forget the weekend, and I still mess up. And I'm still trying to figure out what's right and wrong in this world of gray. But our God is a God of grace and of love. So you're probably wondering where all these lies I believe are coming from. And when I started believing them, like, what does this have to do with being a Christian? And so here's the part of the story that I left out. I was at a youth convention with like 5,000 people. But of those 5,000 people, I knew 10 of them and 3 leaders. Of those 10 kids, none of them wanted me there. Of those 3 leaders, 1.5 wanted me there. I'm sure my youth leader wanted me there, and I'm sure she was kind of excited for me to be experiencing God at this new crazy way, but she was really busy and had other people to take care of, so I kind of got pushed to the side. And then the other person, he was a volunteer, chaperone, he wasn't really there every Wednesday night, but no, actually it was my dad, so that really doesn't count either. But he was really excited for me, and he was happy for me. But I mean, that was it. And this was a regular occurrence for me. Every Sunday I'd go to church and I'd be all excited, and nobody talked to me. Nobody wanted anything to do with me. And if they were talking around me, it was usually about me. You know, like, oh, I'm sick over there. Like, oh. You know, and that just hurts. You know? So, now you may be saying, like, oh, Sunday, that's once a week. Well, actually, it's 2 days a week, because Wednesday night, youth group, blah, blah, blah. And, you didn't know me back then. You see, today I may be able to stand in front of you and share with you. I may be able to talk with you afterwards. I'll be able to listen to you and just engage in conversation. In fact, today I can even look you in the eye and smile at you. But back then, it wasn't like that. Back then, it was different. And while I was doing better in school was also easier. I had different people filtering in and out of my life every class period. So it wasn't like church, where I had the same 6 people putting me down every week. That weekend was the hardest weekend of my life up until that point, I would have to say. And here's kind of why I say that. Because living with your friends for a few days, your best friends for a few days, can be kind of stressful, and you might start fighting with each other. So then, living with 6 people who want absolutely nothing to do with you, pretty much think you're crazy, annoying. I mean, I never even talk to them, so I don't know where they're getting this from. But that can be really hard, and that hurts. That hurts a lot. I think that's when those lies really started to haunt me. I felt completely unwanted and unloved by the church. And at this point, I had a pretty good group of friends at school, so I compensated. I started bringing them all with me, because even if they didn't think I was valuable, I was going to make myself valuable. I was going to start bringing friends with me. In fact, I doubled the size of the youth group every week. My parents would both, like, load up their cars, and we'd get tons of kids going, and we'd all go, and we'd hang out, and we'd have a great time. But I wasn't finding my worth or my value in God, so I just kept trying harder. For me, that meant finding a guy, because I felt ugly. Felt like nobody could really love me. And so, 7th and 8th grade, I know, middle school love, I started dating a boy named Adrian Lascaro. And then moving into my freshman and sophomore year, I moved up. I was a 14-year-old dating a 17-year-old junior who went to my high school. And conveniently enough, he also went to my church. I thought I had found my value in my friends, and I found my confidence in my boyfriend. I thought